static, and the stars, you found us. I'm Sterling Gray. This is Strangely Odd. It's late and the world's asleep, but not us. Never us. Settle in, night owls. Let's get strange. Tonight, friends, I want you to come with me to the summer of 1977. A Tuesday night in mid-August, a flat open field in Delaware, Ohio. Out there in that field stood the Big Ear, Ohio State University's radio telescope. A fixed structure the size of 3 football fields built to do one thing: listen to the universe. The telescope wasn't manned that night. It never was. It swept the sky automatically, a slow mechanical eye, logging signals onto an IBM computer. Numbers printed out on long paper, column after column, hour after hour. At 10:16 in the evening, Eastern Time, something appeared in those columns. A radio signal, narrowband, extraordinarily intense, from the direction of Sagittarius, the heart of our galaxy. It lasted exactly 72 seconds, precisely as long as the telescope could hold any source in its beam before the Earth's rotation swept it away. Then it was gone. The machine noted it, the printer logged it, and the night continued as if nothing had happened. Days later, a volunteer named Jerry Eman sat down with those printouts and a red ballpoint pen, going through the numbers by hand. When he reached that sequence, 6 characters, he stopped. He circled them in red, and in the margin, he wrote one word: "Wow." That annotated printout is preserved now in an archive in Ohio. Eman's red ink. One word, the most famous annotation in the history of radio astronomy. Jerry Eman died in 2020. He never learned what he found. And in 45 years of searching, no one has found it again. My guest tonight has spent a career in radio astronomy and the search for signals from beyond our world. He studied the wow signal, the follow-up searches, and the long silence that has never been explained. Dr. Paul Reinhart, welcome to Strangely Odd. We'll get into all of it right after this.
Strangely Odd with Sterling Gray. We'll be right back. Stay close. And whatever you do, don't touch that dial.
You're listening to Strangely Odd. If you've got a story, something you saw, something you can't explain, something that's been sitting with you for years, the lines are always open. We don't laugh here, we listen. Call in, tell me. You're among friends now. Folks, if your bookshelf doesn't yet hold a copy of Cryptozoology Monthly, you are missing out on the finest field reporting in the country. Sasquatch sightings, lake monsters, the things our official science likes to pretend don't exist. 12 issues a year, delivered in a plain brown wrapper, because we know not everyone in your house is ready for the truth. Cryptozoologymonthly.com. Tell them Sterling sent you.
You're back among the night people. Sterling Gray. Strangely Odd. Right where the dial gets interesting.
And we're back. With me tonight is Dr. Paul Reinhart, radio astronomer, former researcher with the SETI Institute. Paul, thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sterling. It's a pleasure to be on. I've been sitting with this subject for a long time, and it's good to talk about it out loud.
I want to go back to the moment of discovery, because Jerry Eman didn't detect this signal live, did he?
No, and that's the thing most people don't appreciate. The signal came in on August 15th, 1977, at 10:16 in the evening. There was nobody there to see it happen. Big Ear was unattended. It ran overnight, automatically, recording everything onto a computer, which then printed the output on these long, continuous sheets of paper. Columns of numbers and letters, hour after hour. And Eman was a volunteer, not even a paid staff member. He was reviewing those printouts as part of the SETI survey several days after the fact, going through them by hand, with a red pen.
A red pen. Just going through numbers late in the week.
Just going through numbers. And then he reached this sequence, 6 characters, and he immediately recognized the pattern. He circled them in red ballpoint and in the margin wrote, "Wow." He said later he recognized it immediately as the signature they'd been theoretically looking for.
Walk me through what those 6 characters actually meant. The 6EQUJ5.
Right. So Big Ear sampled the incoming signal every 12 seconds and calculated a signal-to-noise ratio, how much stronger the signal was than the background noise of the universe. The system encoded that as a number, 0 to 9 for low values, and then letters for anything above 10. 6. E. Q. U. J. 5. The signal came in at 6 times the noise floor, rose steadily to U, which is 30 to 31 times the noise floor, then fell back to 5.
30 times background noise. That's extraordinary.
30 standard deviations above the noise level. Yes, and the shape, 6EQUJ5. That's a perfect bell curve. A gradual rise, a peak, a gradual fall. And that shape matters enormously because it's exactly what you'd expect from a fixed point source in deep space, a star or something near a star, as the Earth's rotation slowly sweeps the telescope beam across it.
It matched the theoretical template exactly.
Exactly. 36 seconds rising, peak 36 seconds falling. 72 seconds total, precisely the observational window Big Ear had on any fixed point in the sky. Not 69 seconds, not 75, 72. And then there was the frequency.
Tell me about the frequency.
In 1959, 18 years before the WOW signal, 2 physicists at Cornell, Morrison and Cocconi, published a paper. They were asking a simple question. If an extraterrestrial civilization wanted to broadcast a signal and be detected, what frequency would they use? And their answer was 1,420 megahertz, the hydrogen line. The natural radio emission of neutral hydrogen, the most abundant element in the universe. Any civilization with radio technology would know this frequency. It's written into the physics. You can't miss it. Morrison and Cocconi called it a kind of universal watering hole, a gathering place for signals.
And the WOW signal.
1,420.4556 megahertz.
The hydrogen line.
Right at the hydrogen line. And it was extraordinarily narrow, less than 10 kilohertz wide. That matters because no natural astrophysical process produces a signal that's spectrally narrow. Stars emit broadly. Pulsars emit broadly. Gas clouds emit broadly. There is nothing in nature, nothing we know of, that would produce a signal that thin, that pure, at exactly that frequency. And there was one more thing. Almost no Doppler drift. A signal from a planet in motion should shift in frequency as the source accelerates or decelerates relative to us. The WOW signal showed almost none, which could mean the source was incredibly far away, moving nearly parallel to us. Or, and this is the uncomfortable thought, that whoever was broadcasting it was actively compensating for the drift.
Designed to be received.
Like a beacon. Yes.
There's a problem, though, with the telescope itself.
Yes, and this is the part that keeps people up at night. Big Ear had 2 feed horns, 2 receivers separated by about 4 feet east to west. A genuine celestial source should have been detected by both horns, roughly 3 minutes apart, as the Earth's rotation moved it through each beam. You'd see the signal twice. The wow signal appeared in only one horn.
What does that mean?
It means we can't be certain. It could be a local interference source, something near the telescope. Or the signal was fleeting enough that it blinked off before the second horn came around. Or, what it definitely means is, we have two possible positions in the sky, two candidate right ascensions, both in Sagittarius, and we don't know which one is real.
We don't even know exactly where to look.
We know the general region, Sagittarius, and there are three
Wow.
sun-like stars within about 1,800 light-years in those candidate positions. Close on cosmic scales. Close enough that a signal sent at the speed of light in 1977 would still be in transit.
The follow-up searches. Talk me through those.
Many. Beginning in the fall of 77, Eamon himself went back and searched the same patch of sky with Big Ear. Nothing. Robert Gray in the 80s and 90s used the Meta array in Massachusetts, then the Very Large Array in New Mexico, which is far more sensitive than Big Ear ever was. Nothing. In 95, H. Paul Schuck searched from Green Bank. Nothing. Gray went back with a 26-meter dish in Tasmania, 6 14-hour sessions. Nothing. And in 2022, Breakthrough Listen, the best-funded SETI effort in history, pointed the Green Bank Telescope and the Allen Telescope Array at the candidate region. Their report: no techno-signature candidates were found.
45 years of listening.
More than 100 hours of targeted observation from some of the most powerful instruments ever built, and the universe just stayed quiet.
There was an attempt at an explanation a few years back. The comet theory.
Yes, in 2016, an astronomer named Antonio Paris proposed the signal came from the hydrogen cloud surrounding two comets that were in roughly that part of the sky in August of 77. The problem, and there are several, is that comets don't emit meaningfully at 1,420 megahertz, and the signal was less than 10 kilohertz wide. A comet would give you a broadband smear, not a needle. The original Big Ear team checked his comet positions and formally rejected it.
Oh,
The SETI community was, not persuaded. In 2024, researchers in Puerto Rico published what I consider the most serious recent natural explanation. A magnetar flare or similar high-energy event briefly irradiating a cold hydrogen cloud, causing a sudden burst of stimulated emission right at the hydrogen line. A natural maser. It's elegant. It could explain the frequency and the duration. But the authors themselves said, and I found this rather poignant, this study doesn't close the case.
What does it mean to you if it never gets explained?
It means we spend the rest of our scientific lives in a particular kind of uncertainty, which is not comfortable, but it is honest. Eamon, in 2019, the last time he spoke on the record about this, said, "I'm convinced that the wow signal has the potential of being the first signal from extraterrestrial intelligence." He didn't say it was. He said it had the potential. That's the most careful, most honest thing you can say after 42 years of thinking about it.
42 years with that on your shoulders.
And dying without an answer.
The thing that stays with me is the silence. Not the signal, the silence after it. The universe handed us 72 seconds and then nothing for 45 years.
If it was a beacon, if it was intentional, the silence is the hardest part. Because a beacon repeats. It should be there when you look again. Unless it was directed. A targeted broadcast aimed at our solar system, sent once, at one opportunity, 72 seconds.
and we almost missed it.
A volunteer with a red pen. Several days later. We almost missed it.
Dr. Paul Reinhart, thank you. This stays with me in a very particular way. We're going to open the phones after the break. If you've got something to say about the wow signal or signals or the long silence, stay right with us.
Hold that thought. And hold the line. Strangely Odd with Sterling Gray. We'll be right back.
Tonight's broadcast is brought to you by Polaris Field Notebooks. You know how it goes. You see something out there, in the field, on the highway, in your own backyard, and by morning the details start to slip away. The shape of it, the exact time, what the air smelled like. Polaris Field Notebooks were made by people who understand. Waxed cover, acid-free paper, a little compass embossed on the front, fits in a coat pocket. Write it down while it's fresh. Your future self will thank you. Polaris Field Notebooks, for the things you can't quite explain. Strangely Odd is brought to you by Double Secret Labs. We do science, so you don't have to. What they actually do over there? Well, nobody's quite sure. I'm not certain they'd tell you even if you asked. But they keep these strange hours lit. So like and subscribe to Double Secret Labs and find Strangely Odd on YouTube or wherever you listen to your podcasts. Remember the name. Double Secret Labs. You're listening to Strangely Odd.
This is Strangely Odd with Sterling Gray. You found the strange hours, and they've found you. Stay right where you are.
All right, the lines are open. If you've got a story, a question, a memory, if you picked something up once and couldn't explain it, this is your hour. Let's hear from you. Caller, go ahead.
Yeah, hi. Carl. Long-time listener. I'm a licensed ham radio operator. Been one for, 30 years.
Carl, go ahead.
So, okay. This was 1989. I was up late, scanning around, and I picked up something on the high end of the 2-meter amateur band. Just for a minute, maybe 2 minutes. And it was narrow. Really narrow. Way narrower than anything you'd hear from another ham. No modulation, no voice, no Morse. Just this tone. Perfectly clean. I tried to find it again after, and I couldn't. I logged the frequency. I went back the next 3 nights. Gone. I never reported it to anyone. I figured, who would I even call? But hearing you talk about that, the way you described the wow signal being narrow, that's the word I always used. Narrow.
Carl, that's the word that matters. Thank you for calling. Next caller, go ahead.
Hi, I'm Beth. I'm sorry, I'm a little nervous. My father worked at Ohio State in the late 70s. He wasn't at big ear, but he knew people who were.
Take your time, Beth.
He kept a journal. He died in 2014, and I was going through his things, and I found an entry from, September of 77, a few weeks after the signal. He wrote, and I have this memorized, I've read it so many times. He wrote, "If it was them, they're very far away and very quiet." I don't know if that's comforting or the most frightening thing I've ever considered.
Paul, is that a fair summary of where the field sits?
Yes. I think that's exactly where we sit. Very far away and very quiet. And I've been turning over the same 2 possibilities for 20 years. And I'm no closer to knowing which one terrifies me more.
Beth, your father was right to hold both of those at once. Thank you for sharing that. Caller, you're on.
Yeah, Danny. I did signals intelligence for the Army, early 80s. I want to be careful about what I say here.
Go ahead, Danny, take your time.
We were briefed on the WOW signal. Not in detail, but we were aware of it. I was told the signal had been flagged for formal analysis at a level above our unit. Now, I don't know what that means exactly. That could mean exactly what it sounds like, or it could mean some analyst wrote a report and it went into a drawer somewhere. I genuinely cannot tell you. But here's what I do know for certain. The 1420 megahertz band, the hydrogen line, that is a protected frequency, legally prohibited from civilian transmissions in the United States and in most treaty nations. We knew that. Part of what we monitored was exactly that band. You weren't supposed to transmit on it, which means if something showed up there, and I mean anything, you were guaranteed it wasn't from us. It couldn't be. It was coming from somewhere else.
And they knew that in 77.
They knew it in 59, when Morrison and Cocconi published. That paper wasn't just read by astronomers, Sterling. Signals intelligence people read it too.
Danny, I appreciate you calling in. That is a dimension I hadn't heard before. We've got one more on the line. No name on the board for this one. Caller, go ahead.
Sterling Gray,
I know that voice.
still on the air. Good.
You're calling from a long way off.
Longer than last time. The window on your world line has been erratic.
We've been talking about signals tonight, about listening, about what it means to hear something and not know where it came from.
I heard.
Is there anything you can tell me about?
I can't speak to specifics. You know that.
I had to ask.
I know. I always do too. But I can tell you something else. Something I'm allowed.
Go ahead.
2028. There's a radio array built in that year, largest ever constructed. It goes online in the spring.
Where?
You'd recognize the country. 6 months after it activates, it goes dark. The whole array. No announcement, no official explanation. It just stops.
What does dark mean?
It means the signals it was collecting stopped being published. The staff stopped giving interviews. The government that built it stopped mentioning it existed. In my time, nobody knows why. It's one of those things people have theories about and nobody confirms.
Should we be worried about that?
I think what you should take from it is that listening, the act of listening, turns out to have consequences that are harder to predict than people expect.
How far off from our timeline are you running?
67% divergent, which means that specific detail I just gave you may not map exactly to your line, but close enough to be worth knowing.
Are you ever going home?
That's a hard question tonight. Keep listening, Sterling Gray, and pay attention to what stays quiet.
We will. Friends, we'll take a short break, and when we come back, something I look forward to every single week. Stay right where you are. Come back to this moment, night owls. The numbers station puzzler is here. Out there between us and whatever sent that signal, something else has been encoded, something closer and waiting for you. Somewhere in the words I've spoken tonight, the key is already hidden. You heard it without knowing it. My lines, as always, carry it, threaded through them for whoever was really listening. If you've been paying attention all night, friends, you already have what you need. Crack her open. Send your answer and the episode number to doublesecretlabs@gmail.com.
Attention. Attention. Begin message. 25150 10614 17200 82617
01110 90219 2 4. Message ends. Message ends.
There she goes. Found the key? Cracked it? Email your answer with tonight's episode number, episode 61, to doublesecretlabs@gmail.com. Get it right and your name goes in the hat. One of these nights, your phone might ring, and it might be a number that reaches this very studio. Crack the code, friends, and you could be a real voice, live, in the strange hours. Now, we'll take that break.
Don't go wandering off into the dark just yet. Strangely Odd with Sterling Gray returns in just a moment. Stay with us.
Tonight's broadcast, like every broadcast, is brought to you by Double Secret Labs. Double Secret Labs. Their slogan? We do science, so you don't have to. Now, what kind of science exactly? That's a fair question, friends. I've asked. They don't say. And I'm not sure anyone outside that building could tell you what goes on inside it. But the check's clear, the lights stay on. So do yourself a favor, friends. Like and subscribe to Double Secret Labs. And find the show itself, Strangely Odd, on YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. Take us into the dark with you. Double Secret Labs. We do science, so you don't have to. Folks, that's our hour together. Lock your doors, draw the curtains, and if you hear something out there, just remember, you're not the only one listening. I'm Sterling Gray. This has been Strangely Odd. We'll see you tomorrow night in the strange hours.